Hey guys, Justin here coming at you from the 4x4 test tent with another unboxing video. This one is from Bloom Plus. I have reviewed a bunch of their lights in the past. They're usually extremely inexpensive for what they output. So this one is their largest light that they've made so far, the 4000. They claim that it covers a 5x5. Even by their own power maps, it doesn't do that. I'm skeptical in a 4x4, but I decided to try it in a 4x4 just to see how it works. Essentially, I think it's going to be a 3x3, a really good 3x3 light. But we'll take a look and see. Of course, we've got all the meters here. We've got the heat meter, we've got the watt meter, we've got the par meter and spectrometer, and then we've got the meter and Baby Katana. But then if you look in the corners, we actually have some new meters. We got some Apogee SQ616s. They're brand new for 21 meters in every corner for 4 corner live readings that I'll have hooked up to a laptop. So let's get the meters out of the way here, and we will get down to it, see what we've got as I drop the meter. Good thing that's the durable one. Alright, so this one's going to open up on the end, it looks like. So let's take Baby Katana here. Bam. There we go. See how easy this is going to be to get out. I think it's going to slide all the way out. So let's bring it down and go for the slow pull. There we go. That wasn't too hard. Alright. And there we are. We're in. So this is going to have, it looks like dual MOSO drivers. So you got MOSOs, you got your power cord here, and then your rope ratchets and hanging kit. Let's see here, plastic gear on the rope ratchets. To be expected on something so inexpensive, really. Let's pull that off and get a good look at the board, man. That is a big board. Holy crap. No spaces, no gaps. It is just diodes, man. Diodes for days. You see how shiny it is? It does have a little bit of that coating to help protect the diodes. It's not as thick as some of them are. Actually, it feels super thin. Almost not there, but you can barely kind of tell that there's something on there. So definitely not as thick a coating as some of the other models that I've seen. But man, this thing is huge. This is a big ass board with a ton of diodes. It is going to use Samsung diodes, but it is not LM301B or LM301H. It is not LM281. It is actually LM2835, which is some new diodes. They're smaller than the LM301Bs, and they're fairly efficient, but not as efficient as the LM301Bs. So just a more inexpensive, cost-effective diode going into this inexpensive, cost-effective light. As you can see, there is no dimmer, so it's just plug it in and it goes. So you're going to have to adjust the strength on this through the height adjustment. But yeah, let's get this hooked up. Let's try out the new meters and see what we can do. Alright guys, we are back and we have it all hooked up. You can see the 4 corner readings and the wattage, and it doesn't work for a 4x4. Alright guys, we are back and got this thing all hooked up. It's pretty easy to hook up. It's got the standard little wire hanging kit, couple of rope ratchets, super easy. You can see it's It's a hell of a board. I mean, that's a lot of diodes on there, man. You see there's quite a bit of red. Got a few strips of red there. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 strips of red. You do have a couple of infrared diodes there. We have another one down the row. Nope. Over here. Nope. Another one there. And I think that's it. So 2 infrared diodes. No UV on this light. And no dimmer. I say no dimmer. They say they have a dimmer, but the dimmer is on the bottom of the drivers, and you got to detach the drivers and stick a screwdriver in there and manually adjust it. So I don't consider that a dimmer. I consider that a pain in the ass. So we're just going to say this doesn't have a dimmer because it really doesn't. So that's my take on it anyway. Hopefully you guys like the new 4-corner par mapping, but already you can see it's kind of lacking. Like we're looking at 200 to 300, 259 in this corner over here, which is the weak corner because there's no reflection, and then the other ones are set up on the screen as you see them as far as the corners go. So I mean the strongest corner is 315 over there. We are at 25 inches, just to show you here. 25 inches. That's to account for a 1 inch for the new sensors here, because they're about an inch off the floor. So 24-inch canopy, this thing is definitely not cutting it. Definitely not cutting it at 24 inches. Let's bring one of the sensors over to the middle, and we'll get a middle reading here. And 711 it's looking like for the middle reading. So yeah, not real great. You're barely able to flower right here in the middle, and you go out to the edges and it just drops off. So 24 inches, which is where I normally test 4x4 grow lights, it's not doing very well. So let's go ahead and we'll drop it down to 18 inches, which is their suggested height, and we'll see if that helps any. I don't really think it's going to help a whole lot. I really think this is just going to be a really strong, very good 3x3 light. I just don't think it's going to be cutting it for the 4x4. So let's drop it down and we will check it out. Alright guys, we are back at 18 inches, which is their suggested hanging height. It is 19 inches off the floor because they're again 1 inch for the meter there. So you can see already that it's just not going to cut it in a 4x4, even at 18 inches, the suggested hanging height. Let's go ahead and move the sensor over to the middle here, and we'll get a center reading. Looking at 1044 in the middle. So I mean, it's a good center reading, but it just falls off so much to the edges. There's just no way. Realistically, this is going to be a really good 3x3 light. If we bring it over to the side about where you'd have the edge of a 3x3, that puts us at 552. That's flowerable. That's doable. You could definitely do that. Now if we move it over to where the corner would be in a 3x3, it's going to fall off quite a bit. 392. That's barely cutting it, but there again, if you were in a 3x3, you would have edges here to help reflect the light, and then that would probably put you above 500. So really the verdict is this is a 3x3 light, just as I figured. Definitely not a 4x4 light, definitely not a 5x5 light, which is what they claim. So yeah, don't believe the hype, don't be fooled by that. It is a pretty decent deal for what it is. If you're looking for a fairly powerful light for an inexpensive price, it's not too bad. But really, when you get into the price range of this thing, there are a lot of options out there. So, man, it's got a lot of competition. And not having a dimmer is a big thing for me. I mean, it says it has a dimmer, but you got to flip over the drivers to get to it. Use a screwdriver. It's just not, that's not a dimmer. A dimmer is in line with a knob that you can turn, in my opinion. So that's the verdict here. Let's go ahead and take a spectrum reading real quick here. There again, this is going to be higher off the canopy because it's 5.5 inches tall, the meter, instead of just 1 inch. So 1339. There's your spectral makeup. Not too bad. It's got a decent amount of red, a little bit of blue. Pretty average, really. Pretty average as far as the spectral makeup goes. Now, it didn't come with a manual, so there's no way for me to like explain anything with a manual. There's no suggested hanging heights. I got the suggested hanging height off of Amazon. I can't even find on Amazon where they have any warranty info. So I'm not even really sure what the warranty is. Something like this, though, it's kind of a throwaway. And at least they're using Samsung diodes. The MOSO drivers have been used by other companies. So hopefully you won't have any issues as far as longevity goes. It seems to be built decent. I mean, as good as you can build a board. I'd say you could go a little thicker on the metal. It's probably going to heat up quite a bit, but we'll see about that in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and let it warm up, and yeah, we'll see what kind of readings we get, and we'll wrap it up. Alright guys, we are back, and we have given this thing a chance to warm up. So let's go ahead and bust out the heat meter. Let's see where the hot spots are. Of course, they're going to be under the driver because the driver is mounted so close to the board. So yeah, we're pushing like 140, almost 142. It's looking like underneath that driver. 132 out to the sides of the board. The other driver here, 141.2 underneath there. Pretty even spread as far as the heat goes, so that's good. There's no like major hot spots or anything other than the obvious ones underneath the drivers. You could disconnect those drivers and put some little risers in there to make it a little bit higher, and that would help out with that hot spot there. So really, the heat is pretty much average. It's to be expected with a light of this type. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. That's uncomfortably hot. The driver is not too bad. See, if you look at the driver here, let's get the white notch on the driver. The driver's 122, so the driver's a little bit cooler. I mean, it's manageable. 122 is definitely hot and uncomfortable, but it's not going to burn you. If I left my hand here at 133, I would have burns. So definitely, it runs hot, but fanless units are supposed to run hot. That's just how they work. The diodes run hot, everything runs hot, but just like any electronics, the cooler you can make it, the longer it's going to last. So if you guys can put any sort of airflow across the top of this thing, it's only going to help it last longer for you. And seeing as they didn't really list a whole lot of warranty or anything, you're going to want to make this last as long as you possibly can. And seeing that it has Samsung diodes and decent drivers, it should last. Like all these companies, even the cheap ones now, like Bloom Plus, I would say is one of the most cost-effective lights on the market for the output. They're not high output, they're not high price, but they usually hit that price bracket where people are looking for a really cheap entry light that they're only going to use for a grow or two and then upgrade. And it really kind of scratches that itch. So, I don't know. See what you guys think. You guys got all the numbers and everything. Take a look at the links below if you want to get some more info about this light or any of their other products. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, happy growing.